Hi and welcome to my channel. My name is Muila and I do book reviews, and today you already know what it is, you already know what to do. We're going to be talking about Charlamagne's first book, Black Privilege. Now if you know Charlamagne, you know, yeah, you know this book is going to be good because of the type of guy that he is. But before we get into that, please like, comment, subscribe, do all of those things, yeah? And share this video. I would really appreciate that. And yeah, let's get into it. So, Charlamagne, if you don't know who he is one of 3 radio hosts on the syndicated show The Breakfast Club. He's also got a podcast with Andrew Schultz, and he is a producer. He has a network of podcasts, and he's really unapologetically himself. Really, that's who he is. He speaks his mind. I feel like as time has gone by and his career has progressed, he's evolved as a person. He's still himself now, but he's evolved as a person. He's not as quick to bite when it comes to certain things.
But you know what I mean, if you know what I mean.
He's a character within himself. And this book really is about his life story, from growing up in Moncks Corner, South Carolina, you know, being a nerdy kid, to getting onto the radio show, and just all the swirls, everything that happened in between, yeah? And a lot of things happened in between. What I like a lot about the book is he places it as a personal development book. So the book is structured in principles. He talks about different principles, and there's 8 different principles that are in the book. We'll be talking about 5 main things I enjoyed in this book. And the first thing that I enjoyed was Charlamagne's brutal honesty. That's what I enjoy about him as a person. But in the book, he could have spoken about things in a different light, but he just said it as it was. And I feel like when someone's honest as Charlamagne is, and prides himself on being that type of person, his words have so much weight. You really value his honesty in a different way, because you know that even though he's been honest and being maybe so-called rude sometimes, he's also like that with himself. And I think is in this book for his life, right? He talks about going to jail. He talks about being a nerd to being a drug dealer. He talks about being molested as a child. He talks about his toys coming to life. He talks about everything, just like literally everything. That leads me on to reason number 2. The advice he gives in this book is gold. Some points in the book that you think, I'm going to take that. One of them for me was he spoke a lot about reading different books. So when he was younger, he used to be into reading, and his mum would make him read books that were nothing to do with him. And he really encourages, you know, that reading things that have nothing to do with you on the surface. Being open to new people helped open pathways and doors for him. It's true, I think when you're open to relating or even just talking to different people that you're necessarily on the surface wouldn't have anything, you know, in common with, you open up a moment for growth and for new perspective, you know. He also spoke about having something that grounds him. Always found going back home, going to his bedroom in Moncks Corner, South Carolina, and just sitting on his bed and reflecting in that space really helps to root him on what he needs to do next. it's a place where he can reflect on what's important to him and why he does what he does and that always would help you know what to do next. He also spoke about taking opportunities, and this one was for me. Oh, hey, this one was for me. He spoke about Mr. Evans, one of his mentors, and he basically told him that he didn't take on an opportunity because he felt like he wasn't ready. That is the story of my life. And his mentor was just like to him, what do you mean you didn't take the opportunity? Like, the next time, take the opportunity. It made me think a lot about opportunities that I have been placed with, and some that I've taken, some that I haven't taken, some that I've let go. And really, it's more about taking the opportunity and not just taking it, but also living up to the challenge. It just goes to show that you don't have to be ready to start. You just have to start and get ready, you know. And that was something that I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to start doing that way more than just thinking I have to be ready, perfect. Obviously, you know, if the opportunity has been presented and somebody wants you on board, they must have seen something already within you that you can do. So why not take advantage of that? Why not take that opportunity and run with it? And there was more advice, but I will be here all day. We will be here all day. So the third thing that I liked about the book was the quotes. There were so many quotable moments in this book, and I wrote a few of them down. I'll share some of them with you. We'll share because we're friends. We're friends. So the first one that I wrote down was, when God plants something in your spirit, embrace where that energy will take you. Think about all that will happen because you're following the plan laid out by your creator. And really, to me, this quote was like basically saying, believe in your source. Believe in yourself. You really have to take ownership of what it is that you have been put onto this earth. And that's what that quote was saying to me. And I really liked that. I was like, yep, definitely gonna put this on my vision board. Yep, it's going on the vision board. Another one of the quotes was a quote by Malcolm X. And what I liked is that he put other people's quotes in the book and related them to his life. So this quote read, there is no better than adversity. Every defeat, every heartbreak, every loss contains its own seed, its own lesson on how to improve your own performance next time. And for me, I was like, yeah, like, you can always learn. There's no such thing as a loss. It's always a lesson, always. And I started to think a lot about all of the things that have happened in my life and what I've been able to take from it. And sometimes I don't take the time to sit down and think, okay, what was the lesson in this? And it can even be quite small moments or moments that happen so often that you don't really take time to reflect on it. And so that's something that I'm starting to do now. There are so many lessons in each moment of our lives that we can take and we can really use as ammunition to progress and to learn more. And that brought me on to the next quote. It says, if you're not evolving, then you're regressing. There is no middle ground. And he spoke about like him and his daughter and how his daughter has this childlike urge. You know how kids be. They be asking the questions. And she had this childlike urge to learn. And, you know, he spoke about how all the successful people he knows have that urge of learning and growing. And I think, I do believe him, that if you're not growing or learning or allowing yourself the opportunity to be in places where you can grow and be challenged. So I think, you know, when you're challenging yourself, you really are, you never know where, you never know where it will take you. Reason number 4, right? So I like how Charlamagne in Charleston in the storytelling in the book, and I realized how intentional Charlamagne is. I never really noticed that before, but he's quite intentional when it comes to certain things that he does. And he's quite calculated. And I like the fact that he put Denmark Basie's story at the very beginning of the book, because it really brought to life two things. One, where he comes from, and two, what he's inspired by. And he was really inspired by Denmark Basie's story because he was committed to his community. Now, I know you're thinking, Denmark Basie, I don't know this person, who is that? So he was able to buy his freedom after winning the lottery, and afterwards he didn't like flee. He stayed in Charleston. He co-founded a Methodist Baptist church, and he then started an organization that was organizing a revolt to liberate his people. And the revolt's aim was to stand up, to rise up to their oppressor. The revolt didn't happen. Sadly, he was killed. He was sentenced to be hanged because word got out about the plan. And the person, imagine the person who told was a slave. Hey, makes me think, like, what could have happened if they all stood up, you know, and Denmark's plan actually came to fruition. But yeah, so that was one of the stories that I really enjoyed in the book. And the fifth and final thing that I enjoyed about this book was the last chapter of Black Privilege. I liked this chapter because it was really about embodying believing in yourself. He spoke a lot about systematical racism, you know, the prison system. He spoke about reality TV. He spoke about all these like laws and institutions really putting weight on the black community, and acting as barriers for us to progress. And he really spoke about not allowing it to mask our power and the power that is within us, not allowing it to change our perspective of how we see the world, not allowing it to limit our perceptions of ourselves. And I really enjoyed the last chapter. Summarized everything he was talking about in the book, and it really spoke a lot on, you know, self-power, God power, what you tell yourself, and how you build based on your perception and what you see as accessible to you. You know, he spoke about, regardless of your race, we all have to work, we all have to invest in ourselves. And he really spoke about tapping into the power that God has given you and getting up and getting to work on that. About believing in who you are and knowing your true self. And when you know your true self, you're able to find the guide to the privilege that allows you to work and to move in your intention. The fact that he ended on that, it's definitely a very good book, and I would recommend it to a friend for sure. Thank you for watching, and please like, comment, subscribe and share, and I'll see you next week. Bye.